racers, that's it. We got fast cars, and if you think you can beat us, bring your money.
Out here in rural Indiana, do a video on Gary Harris's four-wheel drive truck. He said he would come over to his parking in his friend's yard. He'd come get me. I didn't think he'd be in the truck. He told me it wasn't running. I thought it wasn't running.
It's good.
I totally forgot about that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of built out of junk, like whatever I had laying around. Like the first of the year, like right about January 1st, I got to talking some trash with some guys online that put on races, and they all have no all-wheel drive rules, and I was telling them how they only had that rule because I would gap their asses. They said, why don't you come down to this race and prove it? Which was about 6 weeks later in Mississippi. And at the time, the turbos were still in the front. I didn't have time to order, like, you know, nice materials and get a buddy to come over and TIG weld everything. So whatever I had laying around is what we made stuff out of. Like, I had this little intercooler I had for a boat. Like, it ain't big enough. This little bitty tank holds about a cup of ice. There was a friend of mine doing a rear mount setup, and he was going to do a stack on his, and so I stood one up as a stack as a joke, and I said, man, I can't do it, and I walked away from it, and it rolled down back like that, and I thought, oh man, that's it. Like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Surprising enough, on a set of scales, you spool it up on scales, it'll gain about 150 pounds on the rear tires.
Wow.
Just from the exhaust.
That's actually impressive. I wouldn't have expected that. You still have this set up for like 4-link and leaf, don't you?
We kind of ditched. I had a ladder bar coilovers on it at one time with stock frame rails, and I started showing up to races and they start crying about stock suspension, so I just kind of went away from it.
When did you get this truck?
I gotta think about that. I guess it was about 10 years ago. My wife had bought a truck, bought it brand new, and she was young and made a really stupid deal. We got to get out from under this piece of crap. So I sold her truck, and she needed something to drive. So I went to a used car lot and I found this thing. It was a really solid old truck with like 200,000 miles on it. I give almost 10 grand for it. I give too much for it, really, but it was her daily driver and our kind of family vehicle for a long time. And then she saved up and bought something else, and I started towing with it. And so I pulled it in the shop one day and I put some 410 gears in it, and I had a little 62mm charger stuck on the 5.3 to make a better tow rig, and it was a towing son of a gun. And I took it to a local racetrack one night, and it went like 1220s. Couldn't believe it. And like, people just flocked to it. Then you buy a converter, then you'll wipe out the 4L60, and then you start building transmissions and put cams in it. You know, it's just a big snowball. Then I built a stroker, and I blew up the stroker.
You're the only guy I know that's ever broken a front diff in one of these for the four-wheel drive people, but it wasn't why you would think you would break it.
Honestly, I don't know. I really can't tell you why I broke it. Going from 2 different locations on drag week, cruising down the road like 50 miles an hour, and it just locked the front end up. Broke some teeth off the ring gear, but I had a really cheap gear set in it. I mean, it was like a USA gear, eBay crap. That's probably why it broke.
So you got the 9-inch back here, and because the GM and the Ford ratios don't cross over, so you got like 4 10s in the 9-inch and 411 in the front.
I don't have the 410s anymore. I put a 370 in the rear and a 373 in the front. Can't say I've ever noticed an issue from it. You don't feel like it binds up going down the road.
This is still the same cage you've had in here since I saw it for the first time on drag week.
Still the same cage, so like where the headliner was, you know, that headliner's like 4 inches thick. So everything like hangs down and looks stupid now. The original had like a gauge pillar, so we bent this stuff to clear that so you could see the gauges, and it kind of looks retarded now. and I still had the damn parking brake in it, and that's why this is kind of bent funny the way it is. It started as just a 6-point. That's why this bar doesn't go through the floor. But this year we gutted the dash. There's no heater in it. It's an empty shell.
How much does it weigh now?
4514 with me in it.
That's insane.
It was a little over 700 pounds we cut out of it.
You're like Hellcat weight now.
So that's why I keep saying we're modern.
You're
muscle
normal.
Car.
Yeah, you're right. You're normal.
This thing won't go anywhere in two-wheel drive. It might as well be on water. But that's what I want to do. I'd like to be able to make it fast in two-wheel drive. Just for the heck of it.
So you could, if people are complaining about all-wheel drive, you could put it in two-wheel, pull the front shaft out, and be like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then still whoop them.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I rely so much on the front differential. You know, you do too.
Yeah.
You know, that thing's tiny. A little 8 1/4. So I'm trying to take some stress off of that. Since I broke it, you know, I'd like to not break it again. My back seat still fits. That was a priority. When I built the roll cage, originally it was to clear car seats in the back. And I've had an NHRA guy look it over. Everybody told me I couldn't do that with the back braces, and it doesn't break any rules. So I'm hoping we can get an 850 cert for it this year. I do gotta warn you though, I don't have a seatbelt in the passenger seat. Dirt car steering wheel, because they're $20, but it's really light.
Stand back there. Is it cold? Let's get all loaded up.
I probably didn't let it run long enough. Yeah, that's not built for a man your size.
No, this seat's kind of squishing my balls. Oh yeah, we got the Temple Smasher 9000 right here.
Try to be respectful of what few neighbors I have.
That's your four-wheel drive shifter right there.
Bolted right to the case.
Can't beat that.
It's kind of a long throw, but
I'm just gonna hold on to this. Kind of nervous. I had no idea what you're planning on doing or not doing. What kind of power level is it on now?
never had it on a dyno.
So this is at 20 pounds. What was this thing run roughly on 20 pounds?
Honestly, I can't tell you. With the weight loss and the new setup, I haven't made a pass with a clock. I think it'll run. I think it's faster than it's ever run down a track.
I don't even know how fast we were going. There's nothing in here that would say that.
Normally I've got my laptop in here. I'm having trouble maintaining boost off the brake, and I don't know why. We can't get it to 60 foot. We'll do it anyway.
We'll do it anyway. All right. Make your pull and then put it back into two-wheel drive.
It's a synchronized case. You can shift it on the fly.
Huh.
But this is bolted right to the side of the case, right to that rod. And you can feel it.
Is that for your headlights down there, or high beams?
Oh yeah.
Like an old car?
It's got a universal harness in it. So that was the easiest way to do it.
So there's nothing in here original Silverado wiring-wise?
Up in the headlights, there's a little.
Just the pigtails that you cut off to hook up your own wire to?
There's a little more than the pigtails, but yeah, pretty much.
Huh.
Yeah, I got it. Dude, there is a ton of wire. There's 100 pounds of wire in this thing.
Yeah, that's like ice.
We're having a little trouble building boost down low.
Race brakes. But the wheel was on the back.
I thought I had that going. When I took off the factory ABS controller, it has a residual pressure valve in it. And I thought that's what made them squeal. And I took that off, and I thought that fixed it. Clearly it didn't.
Well, I'm glad to make it back in one piece. Oh. This is a serious machine.
It's fun. Different.
Very different. I've never seen a thing with the pipes like that either. It's really cool. It sounds awesome inside. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it sounds...
Yeah, I don't know what it sounds like on the outside, but it sounds pretty awesome on the inside.
Yeah, it's roaring, but it's not like a diesel with the stack where it feels like the pipe is right next to your head and it's just bad. Like this sounds really, really good when it's up in it. Once you get this thing ironed out, it's gonna be a monster.
don't want to say I want to be competitive in small tire, like local small tire racing, but you know, that's kind of where I want to be. I don't want to get beat first round, or you know, I'd like to be able to go a few rounds. I know I'm not going to go up against some of these big money small tire cars, but it'd be nice to knock somebody out.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, I feel like I can't do really anything because, like, you know, you have a roll cage. Oh, well, you can't race in the street class because you have a roll cage, even though everything else is still there. But then you get pushed in a small tire and you get your freaking...
So I went and bought a bunch of interlocking tube connectors. I was going to make the cage removable. Just for that. The problem is I'd like for it to certify, and it won't certify with those in it.
Yeah, it's a stupid rule. Like, you're encouraging people to not do that so they can fit a roll, but you can jam just as much power into there and it's way more dangerous.
I know guys with no roll cages with just as much power.
Yeah, exactly, but if it's keeping someone from putting a cage in otherwise, like from not doing it that otherwise would, just for that reason, that's a bad reason.
Yeah, somebody will get hurt. Unofficially, world's fastest street truck on ice.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I've seen this video floating around Facebook a couple years ago for these guys drag racing on ice. It just looked crazy. And as a joke, I put up a post and shared it and said, you know, I'd like to go do this. Who else is down? And a buddy of mine commented, he's down. Over 2,000 horsepower tube chassis truck, and he wants to bring it. So I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going. Spent hours running screws into tires. There's like 1,250 screws per tire. It's about 5 hours to make one tire. Went like a 159 60 foot on ice, 684 at 106 mile an hour, which unofficially is, I'm the world's fastest street truck on ice. Tried to get the Guinness guys to put it in the book, but they have to be there and they gotta video it. It's a blast. It's the most traction you'll ever experience in the first 20 feet. Once you get rolling though, it's like getting a boat up on plane. You get up on top of the screws and it's a handful then.
Interesting. Any more of a handful than it is on a bad street?
Yeah. I mean, it hooks really well on ice, but yeah, I mean, it's like being on some radials on a chip and seal road. I mean, it's all over the place.
What's with the 660 Grudge Street stickers on there?
So like a year ago, me and a group of guys from Indiana and Illinois, we put together a group. We was gonna go down and race with the guys in Memphis. And when we did, actually it just aired a month ago. Southern Illinois Street Outlaws is what they were called then. We rented some airports and we had some private roads. We would go rent for the night and we would grudge race. People would come, race our group. You know, you call one of us out, we make a cash bet, and we ended up having film crews show up and we were gonna film a show. We ended up having to change direction. The group kind of parted ways and some of us we're continuing on with some stuff we're going to film. It's all grudge racing. We've got a Facebook page up now. We're getting ready to start filming. We got a couple appearances we got to make next weekend. It's called 660 Grudge Street. You get a hold of us. You can look at any of our cars. If you think you can beat us on the street, this is 8th mile, water burnout, instant green. Come on, bring your money. We got small tire, big tire, radial cars, we got hard tire cars. We're all filming to produce a TV show. We don't claim to be the fastest street cars in the world. That's not us. We're grudge racers, that's it. We got fast cars, and if you think you can beat us, bring your money.
What page people go to find that? 660
Grudge Street. I'm pretty sure the page is up. It should be up. Still getting material together, videos about each car in the group, and pictures and bios. I imagine by the time you put any of this on, it should be up and running.
Awesome. Well, if you're in any area around here, Indiana, you go check out that page.
We're Indiana, Illinois. We do some traveling. We'll be in Alabama next weekend. I'm sure we'll find somebody down there that wants to race.